So welcome to No Stupid Questions.
Hello, everybody.
This week,
What's up, folks?
welcome.
It's for real.
It's for real.
TLeake
Like,
and
rah,
Jag.
rah, like a dungeon drag. What's up?
No specific order.
I love
No Stupid Questions show.
Can we curse on the show?
We do whatever we
It's
feel.
for real.
Tanya,
Okay.
question for today.
No.
is
All right.
Stupid.
So,
Question.
No more to another episode
What's the name
of
of
No
the show,
Stupid
Jay?
Questions.
No
Jag.
Stupid Questions.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to this episode of
Our first question is, who are you?
No Stupid Questions.
Hey, everyone. This is your co-host, TLeake, for the No Stupid Questions show. The show where you have two smart people, TLeake and Jag, and
people.
one stupid question. He got that in there, didn't he? Or
quick.
so we thought. So, Jag, what's the stupid question?
So the stupid question is, does Indigenous Peoples Day cancel out Columbus Day?
You know, we're living in the backlash to cancel culture.
Is a backlash to cancel culture?
Yeah, because people are saying we shouldn't be canceling, and those people want to cancel the people that are canceling people.
They
So
want to cancel the cancelers.
the hypocrisy is rampant. So
Ain't life green?
yeah, is that what we're calling it? So well, I'm gonna punt and get your answer first. I'm thinking about how I view cancel out.
Well, so I did just ask if life was grand, and you know, the emergence of Christopher Columbus in 1492 in Americas was probably the ending of the grand life of the indigenous people in North America.
Definitely didn't improve it.
It definitely didn't improve it. So some 530 years later, to have a proclamation for Indigenous People Day to cancel out Columbus Day, I don't know if that's going to get, I don't know if that quite cancels out the day. I'm not sure what canceling out the day means.
You
and
asked the question.
Well, I just wanted to talk about this topic because I find it fascinating that, since 1930s or so, all my life anyway. So definitely since 1970.
Like the 30s.
We've been celebrating Columbus Day, and now all of a sudden it's Indigenous People Day. And I like the concept.
Well, okay, so how about this? Because I think, does it? I think maybe based on what you just said, my answer is no, it doesn't, but it certainly should. I find it offensive to have them both on the same day. So my understanding of the history is that it came out of Berkeley.
Where plenty of good movements come out of Berkeley.
And
this is a total aside, but it popped in my head for some reason. Remember the naked student that used to run around Berkeley?
Oh gosh. Okay, we're gonna focus.
Okay, let's get.
We all know Berkeley is known for its very. I usually call it like its granola lifestyle.
Right.
It is very, very natural. I mean,
Right.
naked people used to run in San Francisco for Beta Breakers, but let's not go to that's.
And Richard Pryor was reborn at Berkeley.
Reborn. Okay.
As a comedian.
Okay. Oh, was that where he did his first sort of activist type show?
And that's where he did his first F. Bill Cosby as a role model. Let me be my own person. And, I'm not going to do this Vegas skit anymore. I'm just going to be raw and uncut. But anyway.
Wow.
I've got
the history that you
learn.
learn. This is the kind of stuff you learn in this show. This is the good stuff. So
useless knowledge. I'm a master of useless knowledge.
Berkeley, California started celebrating it in 92 I think they intended to really rally against, but it did coincide with the 500th, anniversary 1492, 1992, of Christopher
Mhm.
Columbus's arrival in the Americas, which was in October.
His accidental, his got lost on the highway
Pretty
and
much.
ended up in North America.
His arrival, not his discovery. Yes.
I mean, that's just a bumbling anyway. And we celebrate that as a federal holiday.
Jag, you all right? You really taking it there.
I don't know. I'm feeling a certain kind of way because well, I shouldn't even say this, but how can you be such a big failure that you're trying to go to India? You end up in North America, yet Congress decides to give you a federal holiday.
Come on
That's
now.
worse than a John Gruden moment.
So oh boy, we're gonna have to get one of our favorite guests to come on for that, to discuss that. But it's interesting as you say that. I think there should be a whole nother show as to what was going on, because we have talked about the Confederate monuments and the fact that those didn't go up, during the Civil War. It's not like we were celebrating that. This was after. It was backlash, right? And so I feel like Columbus and all of this sort of, to use a word much more lightly, supremacy came about, in that sort of you were talking about the 1930s. So, but fast forward, well, actually, let me go back to 1992 with Berkeley, and then some states, and my understanding is about 10 states, California among them, celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day and not Columbus Day.
Okay.
And this year was the first year that the president made a national proclamation. I just find it very striking that, what I have seen, it's not sufficient. It should cancel out Columbus Day, but it didn't. And to say schools were out and banks were closed, well, they were closed because it was the same day as Columbus Day, which to me is actually even more offensive. And I understand there are activist groups that are pushing for, actually Native American activist groups that are pushing for a Indigenous Peoples Day in November. And I feel like it adds insult to injury to not only have it this 500 and some odd years later, but to have it on the same day as the person that, like you said, basically was the decimation of Indigenous people. So to say you celebrate them and to have an honoring of this other part as well is not, it's at odds.
Well, I don't want to talk about Uncle Joe because I think it's, well, that's what I'm calling him tonight. You said I was in a certain mood, so let me just continue that. I applaud his proclamation, his decision to proclaim this as Indigenous People Day. I think his heart was in the right place. But let's make no mistake, it was not an act of Congress like the other 12 holidays that we celebrate was actually an act of Congress. And we got a new one this year, right? Juneteenth.
Yes.
You can't get Congress to do things that I never thought I'd see them do. So maybe next November will be Indigenous People Day. But to be honest with you, and I guess we did have a Juneteenth show, you could take your days, just treat the people right.
Hey, I think that's the quote right there.
So my issue is,
because we talked about that with Juneteenth. Go back and listen to the Juneteenth show, by the way.
That's right. I think people think they get a pass by proclaiming things, and we're going to honor Indigenous people. But you got to do more than proclaim things and make it right. And so I applaud Uncle Joe for his, I don't want to call it token.
Step.
His step. I call it a step. I don't want to call it
baby step.
Right, but it's just a baby step. We got to do more. We got to do more.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I am less inclined to applaud because it feels like, how we always talk about backhanded compliments. You're not that ugly, is that, it's like just having it on the same day. And I understand there was an attempt to cancel out. I think that was probably with Berkeley and in Berkeley, their original attempt. But because it still exists at a national level, Columbus Day still exists, it didn't get canceled. It didn't cancel it out. It wasn't a specific sort of, hey, acknowledgement of the fact that we have held this, when Columbus was held up as a a pinnacle of discovery, to some degree, exploration. We didn't change that. Uncle Joe didn't, change that. And that rubs me the wrong way. Then you said it at the beginning, I feel some kind of way, and there's no part of it that's warm and, well, actually I won't say no. It's like 5% of it that's warm and fuzzy. Like, okay, there was a thought to have a day, but it is, like you said, it means nothing when the people are not being treated well. And I think we've seen time and time again that there's been a lot of lip service given to equity, diversity, equal treatment under the law. I think that needs to be seen well before, during, and after these types of things.
Yeah, and I guess there's another issue here that by putting it on the same day as Columbus Day, it's almost as if you pick a fight that you didn't have to pick.
Exactly.
Because you got a whole bunch of people just love this colonial myth, Columbus coming and, I don't know, saving the savage people that were here. There's a whole bunch of people that love that myth. And for you to put Indigenous People Day on the same day, you kind of rocked their world a little bit. And some of them were upset. They were mad. Why are we getting rid of Christopher Columbus, who's a great American hero, or a great hero? And that fight didn't need to happen. You could have made it November 11th, the first Tuesday in November, and avoided that fight. Now, some people would say the discussion is good, and we should always take opportunity to have these type of discussions. But people get their feelings hurt and wrapped up in some of the myths and the constructs that they grew up with, that I just don't know if we needed to rattle that cage at this point in time.
Okay, you're saying it didn't need to be rattled at this point in time. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that, I thought you were headed in a different direction. I think it was pitching a fight, but it was, basically kind of like starting the fight and then leaving the scene,
Oh, yeah,
like
it's
just
not
throwing it out there and not backing it up, and not acknowledging, to your point, that there was this tension that was being created. It was kind of, I proclaim this and here you go, and we're like, what's going on? And like you said, it's not backed by Congress. And I think if you're going to do something like that, that is where, we've been talking about bipartisan support for all kinds of bills and stuff. I mean, this, especially if it's an in name only thing, you might be able to get some bipartisan support and have it be, really a stronger statement. Because I think you're going to have people who, oppose it anyway, because I actually think that having it on the day is like putting it in people's faces.
Right.
But I think even if you did it in November, I think not dealing with the fact that there's still a Columbus Day it's just not as in your face. And there is something to being in your face and dealing with it head on, which I do think that does. But again, we didn't deal with it head on, even when it was in the same day. It was still like, we got both of them. I mean, I'll give you an example. I woke up that morning. I actually thought it was, because I think the proclamation came out on Friday. And I actually thought it was on Friday. And then when I looked at my calendar on my phone, it had both days, like one on top of the other. I won't say which one was on top.
Which one was on top? That's a good question. Go ahead and say, because I didn't see that on my phone. I'm gonna go back and look right now.
You did it. Your calendar, my calendar, registered that it was both days. And if you want to know what it said on top, because it's alphabetical.
And that's why?
I think Columbus Day is first.
Mine are side by side.
Well, I'm looking at it. You're looking on your phone, okay? Because on your phone, it stacks, So maybe it'd be side by side on my computer. But needless to say,
left to right, Columbus is still first.
Yeah, if it's alphabetical, yeah. So I think that it did not cancel out Columbus Day. And I think that's the dishonor, the sad part, the disrespect of it that makes it a in name only, but almost in name only in a sort of sarcastic way, because it just feels so hollow.
So let me ask you this. I'm gonna step back a little bit, and this is the No Stupid Question show, so we need to explore this a little more. What's your issue with Christopher Columbus? Because now that I really think about it, what's your issue with Christopher Columbus? Well,
actually, they were debating whether or not he was Italian or Spanish, but that's not my issue. Like you said,
Amerigo Vespucci was Italian. Was Columbus Italian too?
They said that he was originally Italian, even though he was sailing for Spain.
Well, I knew he couldn't get the money from his home country, so he had to go to Spain to get the money.
Anyway, but
okay.
So anyway, look at the things you learn. So this show is fantastic.
Gotta love it.
So you're asking me personally my issues with Columbus.
Right.
Yeah, right. I think there was an audacity, or just a plain ignorance, I have to say, to him, trying to arrive at a certain place and arriving at a different place and just going with it. And so, I am one of those people who I don't like to be, especially with the Me Too movement and everything. I mean, there's a certain amount of
we got to the Me Too movement. We talk about Columbus.
Well, we're talking about offensive actions that were taken back when the peer pressure, that doesn't make them any better. And, moving forward, you obviously, hindsight is 2020. Right. And morals have changed since then, and all kinds of things have changed. Heck, I mean, the way he dresses is offensive to us right now, or the way he dressed. But yeah, the fact that he represented a very, again, supremacist kind of viewpoint in terms of coming here and believing that this is a new world, which it was not. And that whatever he brought was going to be better for, and I'm pretty sure that the words used at that time were savages and etc. So just a very nationalistic, culture centric viewpoint that, I mean, the result was.
So I think you're attributing a lot to Christopher Columbus. I mean, yes, that movement.
I'm attributing it to what he represents. I mean, him as a man, no, but what the holiday represents is the discovery of America. I mean, let's be real. Yes, this man, I don't want to make any other analogies, but I know people have talked to me about Hitler as a man, and I'm like, yeah, but what he represents.
Okay, I get it. So I mean, as I said earlier, it's hard for me to. What Columbus represents, I agree with you 100%.
But that's what people would fight about. What you were saying is picking a fight. That's what they would fight against. But we wouldn't be here if they're not fighting for him as a person.
I think most people don't know what they're fighting about.
Oh,
I think they think Columbus was this great explorer that left Spain and discovered America. I don't think they will acknowledge that when he sighted what was probably the Bahamian Islands, he declared that he was in East Asia. I mean, how you celebrate that? That's just dead wrong.
So we're celebrating somebody who got lost.
We're celebrating somebody that got, I mean, in actuality, the funniest thing in the world, we're celebrating somebody who got lost, almost died. I mean, he just fell forward every step of the way. But that's what we're celebrating. But that's okay. because as you're saying, we're celebrating an idea, or some people are celebrating an idea, and it just happened to have this failure's name attached to it. But Indigenous Peoples Day, and I've heard it described in numerous ways. It's to celebrate the culture and the history of the Indigenous people, and what I saw was not just in America, but across the world. It's a lofty idea, and unfortunately, Indigenous people also appear to be the persecuted people across the world in most cases. So it's, and I think people have a problem with replacing the mainstream with something outside of the mainstream. So yeah, you had some people upset about, why are we taking away Columbus Day? Why are we renaming it? Why are we rebranding this day? We should be celebrating this great explorer, this colonial, catalyst. It's tough.
Is it?
Well, it is, because you make this, you live your whole life, believe it or lie, a narrative that is good for you, and you get smacked in the face with the truth, and you don't know how to deal with it. And so I do empathize with people who have to now deal with the truth, and they never had to deal with it before. It's sad when those people dig in and hate becomes the fuel that drives them. That's sad. But it is a little, anytime you have a belief system and your belief system gets rocked, that's tough. That's tough to deal with. So, we got to try to help those people, the ones that are willing to get past it. We got to try to help them. And the ones that are not, we got to protect ourselves from them. So I think you can keep Columbus Day, and some people can celebrate it if they want to. But I think we definitely need a true Indigenous Peoples Day, a true holiday passed by Congress. Make it the 13th federal holiday if you want to. But more importantly, I think we need to treat Indigenous people properly.
I was going to return to your previous quote. You can have your day as long as you treat people well and you don't treat them as what Columbus represents.
Right.
All right.
If he did it on purpose.
Jag is shaking his head, so.
I just can't believe this Christopher Columbus, man. I mean, I wish I could fail like he failed and be put on a pedestal.
You might still do it. You can still get lost, especially in your older age. Don't worry about it. You got it.
There is a future to look forward to.
No stupid questions, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
You can ask any question that you want, or don't ask no stupid ass questions.